You're not burnt out. You're just undisciplined. And before you click off this video because I've offended you, ask yourself why that sentence even irritated you. Because if you were truly burnt out, it would only be from relentless forward execution. But that's not your reality if you really speak truthfully. Your reality is bursts of intensity followed by a burst of shortness, because you never collapse from overperformance. You just drift from inconsistency. And worst of all, your life looks fine on paper. From the outside looking in, income's decent, training occasionally, calendar's full, and people assume that you're locked in. But internally you feel off, unstable, not broken, just unstable. So you wake up certain days sharp, dangerous, ready to take over the world. But other days, you're negotiating yourself over the basic standards. That's not burnout. That's a lack of backbone. Because burnout is what happens when a disciplined man pushes too long without any recovery. You're not that. You're just fluctuating, and there's a real difference. So let's strip it back to what it really is. If you were truly burnt out, your systems, they would still exist. You'd still train, you'd still execute, and you'd still be able to hold your standards. You'd just be fatigued and worn out. But let's be honest, that's not what's happening. Your structure just disappears when your mood dips. Your discipline depends on how you feel day to day. Your mood's like the weather. Your execution depends on motivation, and that's not exhaustion. That's called being fragile. And fragility just feels like stress, and then you label it burnout. Then you justify having a day off or taking a break, and then you get even softer. And the cycle just repeats itself, and then you feel even worse about yourself. Then you say you need more rest. This is how you can see that the cycle is like a never-ending downward spiral, and it's too comfortable because it just removes all responsibility. Because we know that you don't lack knowledge. You lack integration of the 3 Bs, body, being, business. You try to fix one at a time, not realising that they're all interconnected and feed into each other. Gym reset, business reset, mindset reset, but nothing ever sticks. Because nothing is aligned, and partial discipline creates partial results. Partial results create partial confidence, and partial confidence creates anxiety. You don't need a spa weekend, you need standards. And this is where most people get uncomfortable. They don't like hearing the truth, because it's easier to say I'm overwhelmed than to say that I'm inconsistent. It's way easier to say I need some time off rather than to admit I avoid all the hard things because they're boring. And it's easier to blame the pressure than admit that you don't have govern over yourself. So let's break this down to surgical levels. If your body reflected your ambition, you just wouldn't feel slightly behind. If your internal world was structured, you wouldn't feel reactive to everything that happens in your life. And if your business had daily non-negotiables, you wouldn't need to rely on motivation, because alignment removes all the drama. But misalignment creates drama. Because you're not exhausted from effort. I can say it over and over again. You're exhausted from the friction. The friction between who you say you are and how you actually live. And that friction just drains all your energy, and then you call it burnout. But in reality, it's hypocrisy. And that word stings. Good, because we're getting to the raw point of the problem today. Because you say you're disciplined, but then you look in the mirror and your physique says that you negotiate. You say you're focused and locked in, but your screen time on your phone says that you're distracted. And you say you're ambitious. Everybody says they're ambitious. But your income generating actions on a day-to-day basis say that it's optional. So let's be real. You don't need a break. You need governance. Body governed, being governed, and business governed. Because when the standards are the same across all 3, something shifts because it starts feeding into each other. You stop needing motivation, you stop craving reset Mondays, and you stop feeling slightly off, and all the momentum starts compounding quietly. Confidence stabilizes, anxiety drops, not because life got easier, but because you stop lying to yourself. So let me give you something counterintuitive, to speak about something from an angle that you might not have heard before. The more disciplined you become, the less burnt out you feel, because discipline removes all that decision fatigue that breaks you down. It removes the negotiation, it removes the internal argument. So you just wake up in the morning, you know what you've got to do, and you execute. There's no debate, and that's inner peace. You think freedom is rest, but it's not. Freedom is just control, and control only comes from having structure. Because I've worked with men earning serious money who thought that they needed to slow down and get some work-life balance. But in reality, they just needed some alignment. Because once their body was consistent, their energy stabilised. Once their being was structured, their reactions slowed down. And once business had some non-negotiables, their income became predictable instead of sky high one month and through the floor the next, because it was never burnout. It was misalignment. And here's the polarizing truth. You don't need sympathy. You just need some standards. And if this feels uncomfortable, then good. That discomfort is the start of your self-awareness, and awareness is the beginning of having a backbone. So you could keep telling yourself that you're tired, or you can just admit that you're divided. You can keep chasing lucky breaks, or you can decide to install structure. Body, being, and business, they all interlinked, aligned, to have the same standard every day. And if this feels uncomfortably accurate, comment or DM the word alignment, and you'll get a free copy of the alignment blueprint, or click the link in the description. It's there for you to download for free. The system I use with all my private clients to align body, being, and business. It's not therapy, it's structure. Because once you install a backbone, you stop needing breaks from your own life. And that's real power. And I can't put into words in a 10-minute video how powerful it is when body, being, and business are feeding into each other and moving forward together and building each other up. And you've got daily systems that move forward on good days, bad days, flat as a pancake days. And if you need proof that this works, click on my website. Click on my website and look at the testimonials, the client spotlights, the stories of men who came before you, installed systems that help them grow across the 3 Bs, that's body, being, and business. And it's as simple as that. So I'll see you in the next video, but don't bother clicking on the next video if you're not going to get your free copy of the alignment blueprint. I'll see you there. Let's fucking go.